Hello there guys, it's CoolFox over here, and today I'm bringing you an unboxing and review of the MC-8 wireless lavalier microphone system. So starting off with the unboxing, as you can see they come inside of a case like this, and to be fair it does look really nice, but you can tell that it's quite cheap, and even the handle here you can tell that it's quite loose, but nonetheless it's really good to have a case like this to carry around the whole system, so obviously this is a nice addition. Now as you can see on all sides it's blank and has this black plastic here, but it also has these metal tips here, so obviously if you hit the case with a wall for example, these will protect it quite a bit, and even from drops it should be fine. But what matters is that this keeps the contents inside secured, and in fact opening it up you have a latch system here, so basically all you need to do is push this up and get the latch off, and as you can tell once you open it up it does suspend by itself, so there's no need to hold it in place, and you can tell that this is very foamy here, so it does keep the insides very nicely secured. And you have some paperwork here on the top in fact, and putting these to the side, underneath you'll find the system itself, so you have the receiver here, the transmitter here, and apart from that you have the other stuff as well. So you have the lavalier mic itself here on the side, then you also have an XLR to aux cable, an extra windsock, an extra aux cable here, and also an aux to aux cable. And lastly you'll find the cold shoe mount, which you can use to mount the receiver to your camera. So taking a quick look at the instruction sheet here, you can tell that they have a service email, which basically if you have any problems you can send them an email up here. And then you have a small guide here, so basically this shows you how to use the transmitter and where to put in the microphone. And it's very good to see that this is up to date, since now most phones again are not coming out with headphone jacks, so it does show you here how the conversion works and how to put it in correctly, even for those phones with no headphone jack. Then you also get another instruction manual here, and basically this also includes a lot of very detailed information in different languages, so I do suggest that you take a look at this before setting up. So taking a look at the smaller stuff first, here is the XLR to aux cable. And again, it does feel quite cheap, but if it works, that is all that matters really. If you drop this, it will probably hold up pretty well, but I would be careful since it does feel again quite cheap. Then you get the microphone itself, and as you can see here, the windsock is very much crumpled up, but this doesn't really affect the microphone itself, and you can always replace it by taking it out and putting in the other windsock. In fact, in the plastic bag there is the extra windsock there. So again, these are very cheap to replace, they only cost a few cents, so that's not really a big problem. And as you can see, you also have the crocodile clip here to hook onto t-shirts, shirts, or whatever the subject is wearing. And on the other side you have the aux cable, which goes into the transmitter. And now taking a look at another plastic bag, you also get a small dead cat inside, so if it's really windy you should put this on the lavalier mic itself, and much of the wind noise should be absorbed by this, and it should not be heard on the microphone system, and it's actually a really nice addition to have. And here is another adapter, and this actually goes for your phone. As you can see, there is written that this is for your mobile phone, so this is really nice to see as well. And basically this will connect to the aux to aux cable, and as you can tell here you have 2 rings on this one and 3 rings on the mobile phone adapter, and that is because this is a TRRS connection, which basically transmits microphone input. And now finally taking a look at the cold shoe mount here, you can tell that this part goes into the hot shoe mount on your DSLR, and the little ring here basically tightens and unscrews depending on if you're putting it on the camera or taking it off the camera, so obviously you should adjust from this little ring here. And then you also have the mount for the receiver, which then plugs into the DSLR itself. And now taking a look at the transmitter and receiver here, you can tell that they both have the MC-8 model number here on the front. The screens are also protected by a plastic tab, which obviously you can remove. Flipping them to their sides, you can see that to open the battery compartment you have to press on this, and obviously there's another one on the other side as well. And once you press on them, the latch will unhook, and there you will find the battery compartment. So this takes 2 AA batteries, and obviously you can use rechargeable ones in here, which is basically what I would go for, since these do take up a lot of battery. And it's not only on this model, it's just a normal thing on these wireless lavalier setups. And then as you can see, you also have a channel button here, as well as an aux or mic switch on the side inside. And taking a look at the receiver, you also have a channel button here, but you also have two volume buttons, so you have minus volume and also plus volume, and basically this adjusts the input gain of the microphone itself. So if, for example, since this is the receiver is connected to your DSLR and you see that it's clipping, you should obviously decrease the volume here by pressing on the minus button, and if you're seeing that the opposite is happening, you should press on the plus button here. These are fully made out of plastic, and that is to be expected, although it does feel a bit cheap since the plastic used here and also the hinge here, for example, is not really the best. So obviously you will find that they are a bit on the cheaper side, but for the price I would have preferred to see better materials on this product. Now taking a look at the back, you also have two stickers here which basically tell you which one is the receiver and which one is the transmitter, which is really good to have since you can get them mixed up, and looking at the back here you can easily identify which one it is. And apart from that, you also have power buttons on the top on both of them. You also have LED lights here which tell you if they're on or off. And finally, you can also see that on the back here you have a little clip. So for the transmitter, for example, if you're giving this to your subject, he can easily hook this up to his back pocket, for example, and let the wire run through his shirt up to near his mouth. And that would hide the wire and also hide the pack here since it would be hooked up behind him. And the receiver here, if you're not going to use the cold shoe mount, you can also hook it up to your jeans, for example, or somewhere next to the camera, and that will again go into the camera itself. To hook up the receiver to the cold shoe mount, all you need to do is grab the mount itself and make sure to put it in these two positions here. So on the mount itself you have little hooks on the sides, so all you need to do is slot them in. Make sure that you bend the other metal piece so that it goes into the other hook, and there it's on the cold shoe mount without any problems. And then all you need to do is actually put this on your DSLR, make sure that it's tightened all the way, and there you can just go out and film. Okay, so to use them all you need to do is open up the latch, put in the 4 batteries here, so 2 in the receiver and 2 in the transmitter. And once that is done, all you need to do is hold down the power button here on the top, wait for them to turn on, check that the channels are the same, so in this case it's channel 1 on both. And then on the receiver here, you can also change the gain as I said before, so pressing the minus button here shows you that now it's on level 1, and pressing the plus button here you can see that now it's on the max volume, which is 16, and then you can obviously change it to however much you want. Just make sure that the audio doesn't clip. And here, as I mentioned before, you also have the LED light, so in this case it's green, which indicates that it has enough battery, and apart from that you also get the battery indicator on the screen here. Now the next thing to do is to put in the microphone here into the transmitter. So in this case the transmitter is on the left, so I have put in the mic in the aux port here. Then you grab the other aux cable, put it in the out aux of the receiver, and connect this up to your DSLR. Make sure that the antennae here are not obstructed or crumpled up, since that might actually damage them, and it would also block away the frequencies, which makes it even more difficult for them to communicate. Okay, so after a lot of testing, I finally got it to work as well as I could, and as you can hear, there isn't a lot of background noise, but I did have to put the sensitivity of the system at around +14, and this is because the camera sensitivity is set to +5. So the reason is that my camera has a not so good preamp, which is very common on these entry-level mid-ranger DSLRs, and therefore it is suggested that you put the system's gain at a higher level than actually changing the gain on your camera. So this is a little tip for everyone that has a cheaper DSLR. In my case I have a Nikon D5300, but this can also be found on Canons and other cameras, so really this is a general issue, and they supply them with a cheaper preamp, therefore there would be a lot of background noise. Now in this case I can tell that there is still some, but at least it's a lot more reduced than if I were to increase the gain on the camera and leave the gain on the system at a lower level. And another big problem that I had was actually with the microphone that came with the system, and I think this was a defective microphone, as there was a lot of hiss and sometimes a lot of static going on, which you can hear a sample of right now. So something in fact that I have been noticing is that sometimes when I talk on every channel there's a bit of hiss which I can't really remove, and I don't know why this is, and I've even contacted the supplier, but again they did send a video out and they did try to help me, but I can't really find a way to solve this definitively. Also on channel 2, for example, there's a lot of hiss, and here is a sample of that. And basically I eliminated this by attaching my own microphone here, which I actually bought for around 2-3 euro from AliExpress. So I will leave a link to that as well in the description. And even if I did not use this system, I would have to plug the microphone itself into the camera, and since the preamp is not that good, as I said before, there was still a lot of hiss. So the system itself actually still helps a lot by reducing the background noise, which is a really good thing. But the most important thing is that the system itself is actually not flawed, and it was only the microphone. So if in this case you get a defective microphone or something of that sort, maybe you get something defective, I would suggest that you talk either to the suppliers or try and get a refund from Amazon, if you bought it from Amazon, of course. And usually they will supply you a refund, which is really not that big of a problem. But in my case, I will keep the system since it's actually working really well, apart from obviously the microphone itself. Since I am inside, you might hear a bit of reverb going on, and this is normal since, of course, when you're inside and you have a not so full room. So for example, in this case, the room itself isn't really that full. It has a few sofas, but nothing really more than that. So there isn't a lot of things that would absorb the reverberation. It would obviously reflect off the wall and be picked up by the microphone again. So that is why you will hear a bit of an echo sometimes. Okay, so now this is a test outside, and as you can hear, there isn't really that much of a reverberation going on. Of course, since I am outside and there are no walls that can reflect the sound. And on another note, with the older microphone, I did find a few problems with the different channels, and in this case I put them both at channel 3 and it's working perfectly well. I also checked the other channels and there was no hiss or anything in the background, so that's really not a problem, and everything was being caused by the defective microphone that was packaged with this system. So now I have the system connected up to my phone, as you can see right here. I am using the recorder app, which is default on my OnePlus 6 here, and it's connected via the adapter that was inside of the box, as well as the receiver, which is connected to that adapter, which is connected to my phone. So in this case, if you do not have a 3.5mm jack inside your phone, you will need to use another adapter which goes from the USB Type-C to 3.5mm jack, and then you need to connect the adapter inside of the box into that 3.5mm jack, as well as the cable from the receiver into this dongle, which then you can obviously use without any problems on your phone. I have put the system at around a +11 gain, and this seems to be the best level for not clipping and as well not being too low of a volume. So I would say that the system works really well. Again, apart from the defective microphone that I got inside of the package, I am using my own one, as I said before, which was around 2-3 euro from AliExpress, which isn't really that much. So of course that was the biggest drawback of the system. But again, yours might not be defective and mine can be just a one-off case with a defective microphone. So this is really not that big of a problem. And if you do encounter this problem, you can always contact Amazon or the supplier where you bought it from and try and get a refund or replacement. Okay, so now this is a test with it connected to my phone and to the system itself. As you can see, I am using the microphone. And unfortunately, I was trying to use the default camera app on my OnePlus 6, but it did not actually detect the microphone itself. So I had to hop on the modded Google camera application for my OnePlus 6 here. And it does actually pick up the phone and it gives you an option to use an external microphone. And if you have any problems with it, I would suggest for you to try a different application, since as I said before, the default app did not actually pick up my external microphone. There are other applications such as Open Camera, which might actually pick up an external microphone as well. So I would suggest for you to try it with these different applications. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more content. This was CoolFox and I'm out. Peace.